Hi, guys. My name is Hannah Smith, and I'm the Recycling Outreach Coordinator for the Wood County Solid Waste Management District. And that is a big, long title that basically means that we handle all of the waste that comes into Wood County. So there's multiple ways that we can handle this waste. One is through taking it to the Wood County landfill. So a lot of our trash ends up at the landfill, but some of our waste comes to our 24/7 recycling drop-off program. So hopefully some of you guys recycle at home or at school. So all these materials don't go to the landfill and they can have a new life in our recycling bin. So we're going to talk today some more about recycling. And specifically, we're going to talk about the 3 R's. Okay, so the 3 R's, maybe some of you have seen this recycling symbol before. We call it the chasing arrows. And each arrow represents a different R. So we're going to talk about what those arrows are and why they're in the order that they're in. So the first and most important arrow is reduce. When we reduce, we use less of something, which means that we also create less waste. That means what we don't have to worry about putting in the trash can or putting in the recycling bin because we're not creating that waste in the first place. And there's lots of ways that we can reduce the amount of waste that we generate each day. So here in America, we're pretty trashy people. Each one of us creates up to 5 pounds of trash per person per day. And that's a lot of waste. So if we can reduce the amount of trash that we create, we reduce the amount of resources that we use. We also reduce the amount of trash going to the landfill. So here's some ways that we can reduce how much we consume. This is the picture of a zero waste lunch. So you can see there's no plastic. After all the food is eaten during lunch, nothing is going to go into the trash can. And this is great because it's still wonderful food, looks really tasty and healthy, but we're not feeding the landfill. Now, the picture below is a pretty standard lunch you might see at school. So this is also a very tasty lunch, but unfortunately, it creates a lot of trash. There's a lot of plastic in here, a lot of packaging, a lot of wrappers, and all those things have to go into the trash can. So if we reduce the amount of packaging that we use, we don't have to send that to the trash. There's also ways that we can reduce the amount of energy that we use. So that might mean turning off the faucet while you're brushing your teeth or taking a shorter shower or bath. We can also reduce the amount of light that we use and electronics that we use by turning off the switch when we leave our room or unplugging things once we don't need to play with them anymore. And what happens with a lot of the waste that we create is that it unfortunately becomes litter. So you can see here is a beautiful picture of a beach and it has a lot of waste in it. So this ends up hurting things, not only like the beach itself, but the animals that live in the beach whose habitat and home is at the beach. And so if we create all this waste and it doesn't go to the right place, it can end up hurting our environment. Okay, so the second R is reuse. And this is the second most important R because it makes us use things again. We're not using them one time and then throwing them away. We can use them over and over and over again. So for example, I don't use plastic water bottles. I have this, I got this for Christmas, and this is a reusable water bottle. So I can fill this up whenever I need a drink, and it not only saves me money, but I don't have to throw anything away. I also have a reusable mug. So things like coffee or tea or hot chocolate, I can put in here and then I don't have plastic or paper cups that have to go into the trash can. I can wash this out and use it over and over again. Reusable. So if we think about just one plastic bottle each day, doesn't seem like a lot, right? Not a big deal. But if we all drink that one plastic bottle a day, every day for a year, each one of us would create over 10 pounds of plastic waste. That is 365 water bottles per person. If we stack those water bottles on top of each other, that would actually be taller than the Steel Vengeance ride at Cedar Point. So even though each day it doesn't seem like a lot of waste, over the course of a year and over the course of all the people that live in Wood County, that is a lot of waste. So the third and final R is recycle. And we're gonna play a little recycling game later on. So recycling means we're turning something old into something new. So if I put my plastic or my metal pop can into my recycling bin, within just a few weeks, that could be a new pop can at the grocery store. So we're recycling, we're turning something old into something new. But let's not just stop there. There's a few more R's I wanted to talk about. We can refuse. So some people, myself included, have signed up to skip the straw. That means we refuse to use plastic straws unless absolutely necessary. So just not creating any waste helps to really save our planet. We can also repair things. So if something's broken and we can get it fixed, or maybe we can even fix it ourselves, it's really important that we take the time and energy to do that instead of just putting it into the trash can and buying a new one. We can recover things. So we can take old things and make them into something new, like an arts and crafts project. We can reject things. Sometimes we don't need to buy a bunch of stuff. We can just be happy with what we have, or we can create, experiences with our friends and family instead of buying things. And we can rethink, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to rethink about what we consume and what we dispose of. So I have some questions for my recycling review, and I need your help to answer them. So the first question is, how does recycling help save the planet? Does it A, conserve natural resources, B, conserve energy, C, reduce pollution, B, save landfill space, or E, all the above? So if you answered E, you are correct. So recycling helps us conserve natural resources because we can reuse those resources to make new products out of old products. We don't have to mine for new resources. It also helps us to conserve energy. So recycling one aluminum can saves 95% of the energy as creating a completely new one. It reduces things like water and air pollution, and we don't have to cut down so many trees because we're reusing these materials. And of course, it saves landfill space because we're keeping things from the landfill. Now let's go over what kind of paper products can be recycled. So in most recycling programs, they can take all types of office paper, junk mail, our cardboard boxes, as long as we flatten them and break them down so they save space. We can take things like Kleenex boxes or cereal boxes or shoe boxes, paper bags, paper newspapers. Any paper product that's bigger than a sticky note can be recycled. We can even put in things like magazine or junk mail, and we don't have to take out the staples. Recycling 1 ton of paper saves 17 trees. So metals can also go into our recycling program. So let's talk about what kind of metals we can recycle. So we want to recycle aluminum, steel, and tin cans. So these are the types of aluminum that we drink out of or that we eat out of. And you can keep the lids inside of the can and you can recycle the whole thing. So plastics, this one gets kind of tricky. So not all plastics can be recycled. The kind of plastics that most programs can accept are things that have a head and shoulders. So if we look at this picture here, all of them have tops that are narrower than their bodies. So that's a good sign that it can be recycled. Another way to think of it is any bottle or jug from your kitchen, bathroom, or laundry room. So things like shampoo and conditioner bottles, water and pop bottles, detergent bottles, cleaning products. These can all be recycled very easily. Raise your hand if you think that glass is a good recyclable item. Yes, so glass can be recycled an infinite number of times. That means it can be recycled over and over and over and over and over again. As many times as you put it in the recycling bin, it can be recycled. Okay, where does trash go when we throw it away? Does it go A, to a beautiful trash can in the sky, B, to a landfill, C, to our waterways like rivers, streams, and lakes, or D, to the trash can? So if you answered B, you are correct. When we throw our trash away, it goes to the landfill and it's gonna stay there for a very, very long time. So that piece of wrapper that you ate 5 minutes ago and threw in the trash can, that's gonna be here probably longer than we are. Now, if you said C, unfortunately, that is also correct. So sometimes trash gets blown out of our trash cans at home, or some other countries, they don't have landfills. So all of the trash gets blown into their waterways and ends up in the ocean. So how can you create less waste? A, reduce. B, reuse. C, recycle. Or D, all the above. Hopefully you said D, and that is correct because those are the 3 chasing arrows on the recycling symbol. Okay, now we're gonna get a little trickier. Can we recycle plastic bags? A, yes, in your regular home recycling bin. B, yes, in the grocery store or hardware store. Or C, no. So the correct answer is B. We can only recycle things like plastic bag and flexible packaging in stores only. If we put it into our recycling bins at home, when it goes to the recycling facility, it gets tangled up in all their equipment and they have to stop all the recycling processing, go up there and cut it out, start it over, and hope that no one adds more plastic bags. So these tangle up the equipment and we don't want to put them in our recycling bins at home. And if we reduce the amount that we use or we use reusable bags, then we don't have to worry about it at all. So what color are most recycling bins? A, brown, B, green, or C, blue? So most bins are gonna be this beautiful blue color. But depending on what type of recycling program you have, the color could change. So how long does it take for an aluminum can to be recycled in the bin and back to the shelf at the grocery store? A, 3 years, B, 3 months, or C, 30 days? So the correct answer is C. It only takes 4 weeks for an old can to become a new can. How many trees does recycling 1 ton of paper save? A, 1 tree, B, 5 trees, or C, 17 trees? And the correct answer is C, 17 trees. So we save a lot of natural resources when we recycle paper and cardboard. What is organic recycling? A, paper recycling, B, composting, or C, farming? And the right answer is B, composting. So organic recycling is when we take like our old vegetable scraps or our fruit scraps and we add that to things like leaves or grass and we put it in a composting bin and it recycles from these old materials into something new, which is the compost. And we can add that compost to our gardens in the spring and it helps create very healthy gardens. What is contamination in recycling? A, food waste, so like old pizza crust or sauce. B, liquids. C, plastic bags and non-recyclable plastics. or D, all the above? So the answer to contamination is D, all the above. It's anything that shouldn't be in the recycling bin, things that cannot be recycled. So we can't recycle food residue or old pop or milk. We need our bottles to be empty, clean, and dry. Like we talked about before, we can't process plastic bags in our recycling bins at home. So please take them back to the store. And this is a picture of contamination. You can see it's really dirty. There's a lot of flexible packaging and some things still have food and liquid on them. So this could ruin the entire load of recycling. Next question, should I bag my recyclables? Raise your hand if you should bag your recyclables. So hopefully you didn't raise your hand because we don't want to bag our recyclables. We want all of them to be empty, loose, and clean. So you can take them, you can collect them in a bin like this and take them to your recycling drop-off and empty them then just the way that they are. And we're going to watch a video in a little bit about what happens to our recycling. But I wanted to play one more game with you guys. We're going to play, does it go in my recycling bin? So my first object is this plastic milk jug. Can this be recycled? Yes, it can. So we see that this milk jug has a head and shoulders, and the body is bigger than the top. And it's also empty, clean, and dry. There's no milk left in here. So this is a great thing to put in my recycling bin. What about cardboard? I know I've been getting a lot more packages at home because I've been online shopping, so a lot more cardboard. And this is another great recyclable item. So to save space in my bin, I want to make sure that I flatten it, and I want to make sure that there's no food or liquid residue on it either, because that could be contaminated. All right, what about this apple? Can I recycle my apple? No, so this does not go in the recycling bin. However, if I don't want to take this and put it into a trash can, I can put it into my compost pile where it will be organically recycled and break down into compost. What about a cardboard roll from like tissue paper, Scott towels, or toilet paper? Yeah, so this is another example of the type of paper that can be recycled. What about a plastic hanger? So we cannot recycle this. This is the wrong type of plastic to go into our recycling bin. It's what we call a bulky, rigid plastic, and it's not the right shape or size for the recycling bin. But we can reuse this. We can donate it to places like Goodwill or Salvation Army, and they can reuse our hangers. What about a shampoo bottle? Yes, so this can also be recycled because it still has the head and the shoulders. Body is bigger than the top. So once this is emptied out and I've used all my shampoo or body wash, I can put it in my recycling bin. Can I recycle things like mugs or dinner plates or silverware? No, so this is called ceramics and it's not the same as glass. So we cannot recycle this, but just like our coat hanger, we might be able to donate this and give this to someone who can use it again. What about my yogurt tub? So this can also be recycled. If you look closely, you can see that there's a difference in shape here. So let's say this is the top is narrower than the bottom, and we can accept number 5 recycling for plastic. So when you look on the bottom of your plastic, sometimes you'll see a recycling symbol. And if it's a 1 or a 2, those are usually really easy to recycle. Now, most programs programs are starting to take number fives as well. So it's important that you check with your recycling facility to see what types of plastic they take in their bins. Can I recycle newspaper or old scrap paper? Yes, I can. And remember, recycling paper helps us save trees. What about a styrofoam egg carton? No, so styrofoam cannot be recycled in most programs. But we can find ways to reuse this, maybe as like an art project, or maybe we can buy the paper or cardboard cartons instead so we can recycle those. What about my metal can? Can I recycle a metal can? Yes, we can. Recycle the can. Can I recycle my drink plastic bottle with my drink still inside of it? So we can't recycle anything that has liquid inside of it. So we want to empty this and then we can recycle the plastic bottle. Otherwise, when it gets picked up by the recycling truck, everything gets smashed together and that liquid's going to go over all the paper and all the cardboard, and then they will be contaminated. Can I recycle my coffee cup that I got from a coffee shop? So unfortunately, we can't recycle this because the lid is the wrong kind of plastic, and the cup is actually made out of paper, wax, and plastic. So we can't have all mixed materials in our recycling stream. So this is an example of single use, and this is something that we can avoid by getting a reusable mug. Can I recycle a plastic bottle? Yes, these can go in our recycling bin. But can anyone tell me what a better option is than recycling a plastic water bottle? So one option is to use a reusable water bottle instead, because then we're using less resources and we're conserving the planet better. Okay, so my last item in my bin, I have a plastic bag and air pockets. Can these be recycled at home? No. So these tangle up our equipment and they create a lot of problems at the processing facility. So things like this can go into the recycling bins at stores like Walmart, Lowe's, Target, Kroger. Most retailers have a plastic bag recycling drop off right where you get your carts. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about recycling so we can all recycle right and help protect our planet. Bye.